So this is the last of 3 edits that I'm going to show you. This is a lovely dog called Nelson, who I met again in Brighton. Yeah, beautiful dog. Now this is what I did with the edit originally. I think that I might have gone in here and upped the saturation a bit more at some point because it is way overdone on his head. Not quite sure what happened there. So in the edit that I'm going to do now, I'm going to make sure that I don't overdo it this time. Perhaps I was just messing about with things, I'm not sure. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed, I don't particularly like the horizon, so I'm going to see what it looks like if I use the crop tool to straighten the horizon out. But the problem is he's perfectly straight, so it probably won't work. Yeah, I think it's a matter of preference, really. I think that he looks better him being straight, so let's just twiddle him around a bit. This is the problem. I can't quite remember if I was able to actually, no, I wasn't able to look at what I was doing with him because he was sort of jumping around so much and he wasn't still for very long. So it's one of these hit and hope jobs, but I really like his face. I like the way the wave is coming just past him. So again, let's go back into the basic panel. I'm going to do my universal edits first. Now the thing is, obviously in the one that I did before, I overdid the saturation, and his head, I think, is pretty much well saturated. I don't want to do too much more, but this area here and a little bit on his face, I want to make brighter. But this area in the sky, I probably want to make darker. So I've got to be a bit careful with this picture. So let me just have a quick look. If I up the exposure slightly. Okay, we'll do that. That's fine. Just get rid of the histogram. And I put a bit of contrast in. See what we do with the highlights. Okay, yeah, that's made the sky a little bit better. The shadows a little bit. What's happening with the whites? Oh yeah, that's not helping us with this picture. What about the blacks? Not so much, a little bit. Texture. Ooh, don't like that too much. Maybe a little bit. Just gives it a bit of oomph. And as you know, I do like a bit of oomph. Bit of clarity. What's the dehaze doing? Oh no, no, we don't want that. No, not for this picture. Now, see, the problem is if I go and do anything to the vibrancy and saturation, okay, it's making what's behind him look nicer, but he's becoming a bit overdone. This is the problem with these universal edits because they affect the entire picture. Same with saturation. Yeah, I'm going to have to do these separately because I'm happy with how he is. I suppose I could affect the colour to the vibrancy and saturation to the whole picture and then just perhaps go and desaturate him a little bit. Let's try that, why not? Let's get the rest of the picture looking how I want it. Okay, so I like that, and then he's obviously way overdone. Let's try going to the adjustment brush, and then let's take the saturation down. Yeah, I don't think that that's actually too bad. This thing over here is bothering me, so I'm going to get the spot removal. And you can still see. This is the problem with gradients in skies. They're quite often difficult to hide what you're doing. Let's just undo that. And then let's try the heal option instead of the clone. That's a lot better. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. And then let's do the other one. Yes, of course the clone will just do it exactly. What the clone will do is it will go, I'm going to clone exactly this, exactly as it is. That makes sense. sorry, it's going to get this area and clone this area to this area. And yeah, it hasn't done an especially good job. I suppose it's too bad, but I'm going to get rid of that. Actually, go to the spot removal, click on it, and then just delete it. I don't really want to get rid of that little boat anyway. It's fine as it is. And I'm going to fit that in so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm still not very happy with this. The sky still needs some work. I think I'm going to try the radial filter again. And I am going to bring the exposure down, maybe have some saturation, bring the highlights down. And I'm going to do it this way. And I'm also going to do another one that way. Has that done much? Hasn't done a huge amount, has it? I think on this one, I'm going to go and I'm going to click it and I'm going to make it a bit warmer. Okay, that's starting to look a bit more like it. And then I'm going to do another one. There. I don't want to overdo it, you see. And this is the thing with skies. If I start putting brushes onto them, I don't find they're as effective as doing a radial filter, because this is in effect a gradient from a darker blue to a lighter blue. I might, if I'm feeling energetic, go back over him, put a little bit more colour into it later on. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over this area and brighten it up, because it's just looking a bit dull. So let's get the adjustment brush, double click on the effect, put some of the exposure and shadows, and let's just see. And I might actually, let's put some whites in, because you've got whites on the wave, and sometimes when I put whites in, it can really make them pop out. It's beginning to look a lot better. Actually, let's just go underneath him, why not? And well, I'm going to do that again, but I'm just going to go over the whiter bits, just so they've got a little bit more of an oomph. Okay, that looks an awful lot better, doesn't it? Let's have a look at the original. Yeah. And I think that looks better than the one I did before. But what I'm going to do to his face, actually I can see he's got some little bits of glute there. I'm going to just get rid of those. That's done a pretty good job. I'm going to put some sharpening on his face, and because I want his face to pop out a little bit more. So let's go back over here to the adjustment brush. I'm going to ever so slightly up the exposure a little bit, put some texture and some sharpness, and probably the shadows as well. Let's see what that does. I can always change it after. Yeah, I think that's beginning to look quite nice. I'll put a bit more sharpening on, a bit more texture. Texture's really good for hair on dogs, I find. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. If I wanted to, I could go down to the colour section down here, get the blues. I'd really quite like this blue to be more blue. Let's see, but the thing is, there's blue in here too, and it's going to affect that. So let's just see. I don't think that's too bad. Actually, you know what? I'm really happy with that. I think that is looking pretty good. Let's see the one I did before. Oh yeah, ooh, way overdone. Don't know what, maybe I was just messing around, trying to ruin things. But there you go. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe I'll put a vignette on it, just to kind of round it off, just ever so slightly. Don't want to do too much with those vignettes. Oh yeah, I think I might have to post that again. I'm going to put that into my quick collection, and I'm going to post it again. Alright, I hope that was helpful.